I'm here with my friend Calen, and today I'm just going to be showing you how I did her hair. So here's a look at the finished product. She's going more blonde. So here is what we got done today. And I'll have some pictures on my Instagram, of course. So if you want to see how I did this balayage, you can keep on watching. And big thanks to Calen for letting me experiment on her. Alright guys, so of course I'm starting by putting some gloves on to protect my hands. And then I'm just mixing up my bleach here using the Wella bleach and a 30 developer, mixing in some color correcting little packet. And of course I'm putting a towel over her. And I'm just starting the bleach decently low and then just kind of working my way up and making sure all of it gets coated. Her hair is kind of a medium brown, so thankfully it's still light enough to pick up right much, but I wanted to make sure it got pretty coated, so that's what I'm working on here. And as you can see, I did section her hair off top to bottom, and I also sectioned it into about 3 or 4 pieces. I'm just using kind of a balayage method. I will say I am not a professional. I do not do this for a living. I'm just kind of experimenting on her hair, and thankfully she was kind enough to let me experiment on it. So I'm kind of just coating the bottoms, and as I get towards the top, kind of feathering it out and kind of just painting up the sides to do kind of a mix between like an all over coat and kind of a highlight. So that is what I'm doing here. So I know you can't really tell here, but I'm just going back through and blending the color in to make sure there's no harsh lines or anything, just to make sure everything is good. And then I'm letting down the next section and sectioning her hair once again, 'cause she's got quite thick hair like myself. And then once again, just separating the hair into sectioned, like kind of triangles, so I can apply that as evenly as I did the first coat. And you can see that the first layer is already starting to process, so I did the bottom layer first, so once I get done with that, I can just rinse it out without having to rinse her whole head when it's not completely processed. So I'm trying to work decently fast so I can make sure her hair processes around the same time, but more so just trying to be conscious of what sections are in what layers of hair, so I can make sure when I go to rinse it out it stays nice and separated and I don't rinse any of the bleach before it's all the same tone. I know it's hard to see, but I'm just getting the last little strand over on the other side. And then I'm just letting down the next layer of hair, brushing that out, and starting to section that off. And once again, just doing the same thing I was doing for the first 2 layers, just coating the second half of her hair, and then as I get higher, I kind of feather it out and just kind of paint up the sides. So here is after I washed out her hair and after I let it set for probably 20-30 minutes. So now I'm just going through and toning with the Manic Panic Virgin Snow White Toner. As you can see, she does have right much orangey tone to her hair right now because I just bleached it and had not toned it. So we're trying to get rid of some of that brassiness. So I'm just doing my typical toning routine on her. I do have a whole video about that I will link in the description box below. But I'm just coating her hair, making sure it gets fully saturated so you can really get the best result from the product. And this is actually my favorite toner that I've used so far. I've only used a couple, but this one works really well. And you'll see that I actually go higher with the toner than I did the bleach, and that's because I'm doing like a transition kind of color. So I'm going to be bringing the toner higher, and then I'm using a second toner in a little bit to blend into that. So that's what I'm doing there. Alright, so now that her hair is completely coated with that one, I'm going in with a little bit of a darker toner just to mix into that to make it more of like an ombre, and so it's a little bit more subtle, so it's not just dark to light. So we have a little bit more of an ombre effect. So here I'm just going through, making sure it's all blended, kind of double checking everything to make sure everything is coated. I'm actually adding some more of that Manic Panic toner to make sure it gets all blended in, and I have more light toner than dark, just to make sure it's completely blended and coated. And then I let that set for probably 30 minutes or so. And then here's what her hair looked like right after toning it. So it's definitely a lot more on the light brown side. And then I'm just going in with some conditioner. And I did add a little bit of purple and blue tones from Overtone just to mix into that to tone it a little bit more. And I went ahead and deep conditioned her hair. It still felt really well, but I wanted to make sure it stayed healthy, so I always deep condition after I do any kind of bleaching, whether it's myself or anybody else. And I'm just going through with the Cocoa and Eve brush to make sure it gets completely coated. And then I just twisted that side up into a bun and pinned it, and then did the same thing to the other side. Also, the lighting in my bathroom is very yellow, so her hair actually does look a lot more brassy on camera than it actually looked in person. But if you go check out my Instagram, there's a couple of pictures up there for when I did this, and it's in natural lighting, so you can actually see it a lot better. Okay, so here is her hair after I rinsed the deep conditioner out, and I'm just going through and blow drying her hair so I don't just leave her with a wet head walking out into the cold. So I wanted to go ahead and blow dry it and style it for her. I did add some Diva Curl Wave Maker And then I also added a little bit of the Organics Lavender Platinum Oil, along with the Not Your Mother's Blonde Moment leave-in conditioner. So here's her hair almost completely dry, and you can see that it's a whole lot more toned than it was. So I'm just going through making sure it's completely dry before I start putting any heat on it. Sorry for the focusing issues. I love this camera, but I hate how it doesn't focus. I also added a little bit of the Kristen S texture spray, dry texture spray I think it is, to kind of help her hair hold a little bit better. And then I'm just going through with my curling wand and curling pieces in opposite directions, kind of going back and forth, kind of doing 2 pieces away from her face and then another piece like towards her face. And going through with the Kristen S dry finish spray and spraying that so it holds. So there's the first layer. So here I am just on the last layer of her hair, just doing the same thing, curling the hair in different directions. And then after it was curled, I also added a little bit of the Not Your Mother's dry finish spray, texture spray I think it is, to help it hold, because she did say her hair has a tendency to fall out once the curls are there. Not her hair fall out, but you know, the curls fall out. So I want to make sure I tried to hold the curl as much as possible. And here is the finished look on her hair. So I really am happy with how it turned out, and she's super happy with how it turned out, so I'm really glad. I was really nervous to try this. So there's just the first look at it, and I'm sure we'll go back through and add some more lightness later. And I forgot to film a outro to this video, so this is the outro right here. I just wanted to see her reaction and all of that stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.